Welcome to RSA Conference. We're here recording live from Broadcast Alley in Moscone West. This interview is sponsored by Ariaka. I'm your host, Mandy Logan. And joining me today for this interview is Renuka Nadkarni, Chief Product Officer. What is Chief Technical Officer?
Product Officer.
It is Product Officer?
Yes.
Well, it's so refreshing to speak with somebody who enjoys the technical side.
Yes.
And just before our interview, we were discussing some of the technicalities of SASE.
Yes.
And why is Unified SASE as a service different than SASE? So please, Renuka, will you go into anything that you would like to share on that?
Absolutely. So as you pointed out, for me, I'm really very passionate about bringing vision to life with execution. So that's why I dwell on both sides of business as well as on the technical side of things. And SASE is this really very beautiful promise of making sure that the networking and the security technologies are integrated. And back in the day, I remember in August 2019, there was a paper that was, that described it, and it seemed like, too good to be true. And sure enough, I was at a different place, and it made a lot of sense. And if you look at like around the industry, if you talk to like large companies, whether they are in the security space or the networking space, generally speaking, everybody believes that this is essentially, what the future should be and how these things should be integrated. Now, the real challenge is how do you in fact make it work? How do you make it happen? Because there are many aspects and elements to it. So at a very basic level, we say it's a network and security. But you know that network has many elements to it, security has many, many technologies, there are hundreds of sub-markets, hundreds of security problems. So how do you make sure that you combine all these things from a technology perspective and the operational angle as well? So what Ariaka did was, when we looked at this problem from a customer's perspective, we said, what are the problems customers are trying to solve for? And what we use that as our guiding principle, and this has been our guiding principle ever since the company was formed 14 years ago. Yeah. So it's not like we woke up one day and said, "Hey, I'm gonna build this." It just so happened that we were building this really awesome technology that would provide the best network connectivity globally with least amount of packet loss and low latency. So that was our mission, and we actually went ahead and invested in building this global architecture, global private network, which was the foundational part of our SASE. So once we had that, we added security technologies. And again, it's not like in 2019 we suddenly decided to add these. Our customers were already asking us for this. So we had been building it for a while. And when this industry and the customer requirements converged, that's when we coined this term Unified SASE as a service. And it has 4 big elements in our perspective, the way we define it. The first and the foremost is, how do you process a connection, a packet of flow that comes to you? And we call it like process to completion, which is when we are connecting a user to an application, we provide WAN optimization, compression, encryption, all of these things together from the networking perspective. Then we do inspection for access control. Is this user and this application allowed? We look at threat protection. So we open up the packets and we see what kinds of potential threats it could have and mitigate those on the fly, inline. And then we also provide matrix from observability perspective. Okay. So when we are processing a connection or a flow or the packets, we are actually doing 3 things. Providing the best possible connectivity, including compression, optimization, all of those. Providing security with access control, threat protection, and data leakage prevention. Like, is there any sensitive thing going on? Yeah. And then the third thing is observability, which is having access to all this information gives you new intelligence that you had not imagined that you could get. Right? So that is really a combination of everything in a one-pass architecture with a global private backbone that we offer, which defines the Unified SASE as a service as we define it.
So going back to the observability, because I'm also curious that for organizations looking to switch over to a Unified SASE as a service solution, do you think there's more of a issue with the technology being implemented or with the teams being able to very quickly understand what they're actually seeing from the one-pass architecture feedback?
Yeah, I mean, that's actually an excellent point you bring up, Andy, which is, sometimes we have technology and, security has so many advanced technologies. But what I always say is security is only meaningful if it can be enforced.
Right.
And to make sure that it is enforced, it has to be in the right places. So we have built what we call as distributed data plane architecture,
Okay.
which is we apply enforcement closer to the source. So if the users are coming from the office, we have a CPE appliance which actually has full security capabilities. We have similar processing if users are coming from the remote place in the cloud. So the distributed data plane essentially makes sure that the security enforcement happens close to the source of the traffic. Right? Now, when you start thinking about how do you apply consistent policies across these, and then who manages those policies? Like how do you operationalize these processes? How do you operationalize change management? I think that's where most of our customers stumble with those problems. So even if there is technologies available, even if there's budget available, when you try to buy things from 4 different vendors, like what people today call SASE, is typically a combination of one acquisition that the company did, had some product line, combined it with something else. But it has different management, it has different people who will actually be using it. So how do you synchronize the operational aspects of change management? I think that's really very critical. So when we designed, because of this single pass, the one pass architecture that we have built, we actually took into account the configuration part of it as well.
Okay.
Right? So from the get-go, and we had the benefit of doing this from a clean slate. We didn't have the baggage. Like one of the challenges with most security vendors is they have so much baggage because they have already configured things in a certain way, and like now adding more workflows to it, you have to change the object model. So part of the one pass architecture also is that our networking and security policies apply to the same object model. So when I say a user is XYZ, that is the same user that is in all the policies for networking and security and observability. Right? And it's not easy thing when you are not architected that way.
Oh, absolutely. Now, does that, I keep going back to this observability point, because not only is the ability of Ariaka's system to, I feel like it's such a pie in the sky thing to have networking that also has security built in, but getting the observability factor, I think it's called like the single pane observability. Is there a time that when an organization is switching over to using Ariaka, that in being able to, at their own pace, take the information that they are observing slowly from Ariaka, that it becomes, oh my goodness, why didn't we do this faster?
Yes, I have a great story to tell you. We have had some of our customers reach out to us because they had a ransomware attack. Okay, and typically the way these things work is, they are investigating after the fact, as we all know, right? And we looked at what traffic was traveling between their sites, and just by looking at their logs and looking at the traffic, we could actually say this was an abnormal behavior, and yes, this was a problem, right? So this is the moment of, oh my God, why did I not look at this before, or why did I not ask Ariaka about this before, right? So this is not uncommon, and especially now, where the attacks are very sophisticated. So they had clearly, like they had firewalls and other security products, right? But when the ransomware happened, it actually went through all of these things.
Now, side point, but was that from a third-party firewall breach or anything? Do you know?
It was not a breach. It was a very classic ransomware attack.
Was it? Okay.
Which was like, probably got planted somehow. But the reason Ariaka was able to look at it is because we process 100% of the customer's network traffic.
Oh.
Because we provide connectivity globally to all their
Right.
sites and to the internet and their public cloud, as well as their SaaS applications. So just by the sheer presence, this is what I go back to. Security is only useful if it can be enforced, right? So just by the fact that we have sheer presence in all these places, it's very easy for us to derive these kinds of insights into why is this traffic looking odd, or why is this new things that we are new ports being used, or why is this abnormal, right?
So then across your entire platform, being able to take emerging anomalies that come out, have you seen that be accelerated because of the use of AI or generative AI?
Absolutely. So we have been, we are actually looking at AI for a while. There are 3 things that Ariaka does in this conversations around AI. First and foremost, we are allowing our customer to access and avail the benefits of AI. Now, as you can imagine, a lot of our customers are using GPU as a service. And what typically happens is these GPUs are like highly concentrated like workloads in some part of the geography. And your users could be like anywhere else. So when the users are accessing this, or when you're doing like data transactions with LLMs, there's a ton of information that needs to go back and forth, right? And you can just saturate your WAN bandwidth just by doing that, right? So with Renuka, the first and the foremost thing is we are enabling our customers to access AI, access GPU as a service, and we use the same exact technology, which is compression, WAN optimization, giving guaranteed bandwidth with redundancy, and so on and so forth, right? The second thing we are doing is we are looking at securing that access. Are these locations sanctioned? Are these LLMs sanctioned? Are they something that the IT team knows about? Like the access control part of it, which we typically say something like an LLM firewall, right? So the access control. The second part is threat protection. Is there any data poisoning happening? Like who's gonna is this the right thing to do? And then the third thing is data leakage prevention, which is my intellectual property being sent to the public LLMs, right? So this is on the security realm of things. And then we are also looking into basic observability / visibility, which is how many users are using what where, and are they entitled, are they doing the right thing? Again, goes back to the whole security. But having visibility into that is also very crucial at this point in time, as enterprises are embracing AI and they actually do not even know where to begin. Right?
Right. And again, that makes me go back to something that you had written about how going to the Unified SASE service, it was like getting to have what was it exactly, about having your network cake and your security pie too?
Yes.
And I really love the idea of having that, again, those pie in the sky ideas, and yet we understand that with AI from the threat actors and the speed at which the emerging threats come out, you need it to be absolutely fast.
Exactly. It's high performance, and again, it's all about accessibility, making sure there's visibility to the data, and we are not claiming to solve all the problems that everyone has. But the fact that we have the foundational technologies, and we also have integrations in terms of traffic and bringing other security technologies in, which makes it very powerful. So it's very easy for our customers to actually adopt our Unified SASE as a service and grow with our foundational technologies, but use other security products as well.
That's wonderful. It's like the flexibility, but being able to have the backup from Renuka of transitioning and making a very custom solution.
Exactly.
I believe I saw in your literature that there is even a possibility of having a complimentary 12-month tryout period?
Yes, yes, one of the things we did was to help our customers accelerate their adoption of Unified SASE services. We introduced a migration plan, which is, it's almost like they get to try it, and they get to try it until they have integrated all the moving paths, which is technology-wise, operations-wise, and that's one of the things which is very different between a networking vendor and a security vendor. As a networking vendor, we always think about interoperability. So this whole platform conversation that you're hearing,
right? You were used to doing that.
We have been doing it because that's what we do. Like we actually provide connectivity, right? So that's how we are actually building connections with wherever else the traffic needs to go.
That's so wonderful. I have very much enjoyed this time, and I want to make sure to direct all of our viewers and listeners to go to securityweekly.com/Renuka, RSAC. So thanks for joining us here at Security Weekly. Again, Renuka, thank you so much, and be sure to look at securityweekly.com/Renuka, RSAC. On behalf of Security Weekly, thank you.
Thank you, man.